question and answer session after that. So, without any delay, the mistress of ceremony, Sister Adeline, is going to come, and then she's going to proceed with the program, uh, announcing our presenters, and then be in control, in charge of the question and answer session also. Then after that, I will come back with final remarks, and then, Lord's willing, we will be dismissed. At this time, Sister Adeline will come with the beginning of our summit. Please just continue to eat, enjoy yourself, and we will get through this session.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. Are we enjoying our delicious lunch? Yeah. Yeah, very, very good. Well, we are going to, like my father said, we're going to kind of dig into what we've been doing now for probably about going on a year, maybe a year and a half, where we um, just want to educate the community on various areas of what we call literacy. And so this first section is going to focus on health literacy by way of CPR. And so while we may not all be CPR certified on today, at least we will be familiar with the how-to in the event that we need assistance saving a life. Obviously, no one wants to be in that situation. It's stressful. There's a lot of pressure. I am CPR certified, and I kind of, pull back if I see somebody because I don't want to be the first one to do, but I will do if in that situation. So just having that knowledge is going to prove invaluable to and for all of us. So without further ado, we do have Miss April Chambers. She's going to be our instructor, and April Chambers has over 10 years of nurse training. She is a registered nurse, and so she is highly, highly skilled in delivering the instruction that she's going to share with us today. Currently, she is an RN clinical supervisor. She oversees the clinical care of home care clients from admission to discharge at Maxim Home Health Care. She is also a house supervisor for UF Health North. So very well skilled. And so we can invite her up, encourage her up by giving her a warm round of applause. She's going to come up and share us important topics. Miss April.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. So we believe in doing things decently in order. I was given 20 minutes, and I'm gonna put my alarm. There's just a lot that I'm trying to put into 20 minutes, so I just want to set my alarm so we can be set my alarm here.
And
Yeah. So my name is April. Like she said, I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a certified CPR instructor. I've been doing this, I think now for maybe about 5 years now. I've been a CPR instructor. And being that I'm a nurse first, I did attach some other things. I gave you a handout here telling you about hands-only CPR, but I did attach some other things that are very important that can possibly lead up to you having to administer CPR, which a lot of it is a heart attack, knowing signs and symptoms of heart attack, knowing signs and symptoms of stroke, your blood pressure going too high can lead to heart attack. So those are some things I did attach some additional information because it wouldn't be right for me as a nurse if I didn't add something else besides CPR in. So if you look at your handout, it said cardiac arrest, people get cardiac arrest and heart attack and cardiac arrest confused. The heart attack is what causes you to go into cardiac arrest. So those are some things that you might want to pay attention to, like if CPR is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. Heart attack mostly happen with adults. If as you see a child go down, it's probably something related to respiratory, but it still stands the same. You still do the same thing, even if it's respiratory for a child. There's just different ways, and I'll try to run through it while we're here. And then if anybody wants to come up after we're done and want to kind of play with the mannequins, I'm open to that. And if at some point you guys want me to come back and actually do a hands-only CPR class, I'm open to that as well. So I'm just gonna impact if you pack in what I can in 20 minutes, but I'm open to come back and actually have a hands-only CPR class because that's what's recommended for the community. Any healthcare professionals or anybody working with children or anything like that, it's highly recommended that they become certified CPR instructors because it's a whole lot more that goes into it besides what I'm showing you today. So it's in each year is more than 350 cardiac arrests happen outside of the home, and 70% of that 70% of the population, that's a lot of people. That's a lot of cardiac arrests that happen outside the hospital. So to get yourself to protect your loved one, maybe it might be your loved one. You don't want to like not know what to do when your loved one. So learning hands-on CPR can help you in that it only takes 6 minutes for brain death to occur. So it may be a train on the track with EMS trying to get to you. It may be an accident. You know, the 95 might be backed up. 8th Street might be backed up. Something may be backed up. And those 6 minutes is critical. If you can't start CPR in 6 minutes, you take the chance of getting brain dead. So I would highly recommend like get some kind of skill so that you can save your loved one, family, friends, even church. I don't follow TD Jakes, y'all, but y'all saw when he had his incident at church where he went. He actually had a heart attack. Luckily he had healthcare personnel that looked there and they were able to go and help him. But he actually did have a heart attack. He actually had to go in, but they him in time because that normally takes anybody out. So it can happen. It can have an event. So I highly recommend that everybody has some idea what to do. Um, so that's what I'm just showing you just basics of how to do hands only CPR. So that you'll have an idea of what you're doing. And when it's all said and done, if you don't know how to do anything else, just remember them. Just remember them. If you don't do nothing else, make sure you're doing chest compression because that's what's going to keep that heart beating until somebody can get here. And that's what I always tell people. We don't teach community breath anymore. Do we do breath? We do. But that's when you take a class and you get certified in it. But we don't teach the community because it's a lot of you come and try to do all this. We just want you to be able to keep that heart beating. So just remember that we have a good Samaritan law that protects you. A lot of people want to do it because they're scared of being sued and things like that. We have what we call a good Samaritan law in the state of Florida. If you do CPR on a person and they can't tell you that they don't want it, if they can't tell you they want it, they don't need it anyway. If they say, no, I don't want you to do it, they don't need CPR anyway. But you do have a law in the state of Florida that will protect you if you decide that you want to do CPR on a person. This good Samaritan, they can't sue you, they can't do anything to you because you was doing it in good faith. So just remember that. Don't be afraid to do it because you're afraid to get sued. People are so happy nowadays, but they can't sue you for that. Um, I'll just show you what this is. We won't go over it, but this is what anytime you go in any place, look for a machine like this. It says AED. If you go in a lot of restaurants, you go in the airport, you go anywhere, you'll see an AED sign up there. This can be a lifesaver for you because this is what can start your heart back up. This is just a tester right here, but the real things are very expensive, but they're really worth it because if you get one, they're good for 10 years, as long as you're getting your service on them within that 10 years. They're pricey, but it's good to have at least one in any establishment, or if you go into the library, if you go anywhere, make sure you're looking for where an AED is because it may be somebody with you that need it, and you may be the one that's trying to run and get it. But it's good to have one of these in addition to doing the hands-on CPR. If hopefully there's somebody else around that's been trained to do this, and they can use these automatic defibrillators to help you. If you see an adult or child that's unresponsive, you want to take certain steps before you assist them. Don't just run out there and just because you see them go down. You want to make sure that your scene is safe. It may be a car accident. Yeah, I'm getting out. We might be in an accident, but what good am I if I run out there and I get hit too? So you just want to make sure that your scene is always safe. Don't put yourself in danger. Yeah, we want to save somebody, but if it's gonna cause me to be in danger, then I'm just gonna have to wait on the right people to come so that they can get out there and do it. And I always use the example of like a snake bite. If it's a snake bite, I'm gonna look to see what that snake is before I go out there to see it. I'm not gonna get bit too. So you just want to go out there and make sure that your scene is safe before you put yourself out there to try to assist anybody. You want to make sure that look for breathing. Look for breathing. And what I will tell you, a lot of times people see a person go when they have a heart attack, that is just what they call vaginal breaths. That's just a heavy breath that they're taking. So if you just look for breathing, if you want to look and see if the chest is rising and falling on a person, if you see the chest rising and falling, then you know that they're breathing. If you don't see that, then you want to try to start CPR. You can even put your ear over to see if you feel any air coming out of their mouth. That's the way that you can always tell. You don't ever want to do CPR on a person that is with it and they're alive and they're like they may be unconscious but they may be breathing. You don't want to do CPR on a person like that. And if you don't have any children, I always tell children because after children like to play with my managers, they like to don't go home and try this on your brother. Because they want to go home and see it. I mean, why? So yeah, because we do let little children practice because they can't save us. And we always tell them, don't go home and practice on a live person. Don't do it on your sister. Don't do it on your brother. Don't do it on anybody because you can really hurt them. So when you do that, make sure that you see some kind of breathing. Tap them on the shoulder. If they go down, you see a person go down, you want to tap them on the shoulder. Hey, you okay? You okay? If they can't respond to you, then that's when you want to holler loud for help. So if there's somebody else around you that they can go and get help, they can call 911. They can go and get an AED. So you want to make sure that you have that. You holler loud, check them, holler loud, and once that's done, you want to call 911 and send a person, or if you get an AED. If you don't have an AED, that's okay, because this will be your AED until 911 can get there. So this right here can help anything, because what I will tell you, if you have an AED, and if you're completely flat time, that AED won't help you anyway, because it's not going to bring back a dead heart. Your hands will bring back a dead heart. The AED will just tell you whether the heart dead or not. So if you use your hands, then if you don't have an AED, then this works just fine. Probably works better than the AED, especially if the heart is dead. So you want to check for breathing. Make sure your environment is safe. You want to check for breathing. Holler for help. Call 911. If you know people nosy, so a lot of people be standing around and they're looking, but it won't help. So if you see somebody there, point out to one person and make sure, because everybody's standing around trying to think that somebody else is gonna do it, and nobody's calling 911 and nobody's trying to go get it. So if you can remember, just say, "Hey, I need you to point the person out," because nosy people will just stand around and be nosy. So point somebody specific and tell them to go and get what you need. So then what we want to do after that is we want to make sure the person is always on a flat surface, whether it's on the ground, because what happens if you do them on a surface that moves, you're defeating the purpose of doing CPR because they be bouncing. So you're not even getting a good. So you always want to find the center of the chest, and I put these green markers here so you will know where the center of your chest is. You'll find the center of your chest, and you want to take your heel of your hand. You want to put that here, and you want to keep your arm straight, and this will keep you from getting tired too. And you want to go straight down, hard and fast. They say 100 to 120 beats per minute. Just push, because if when your adrenaline going, you're not gonna try to count. Just push. You just want to push. And what I will tell you, don't ever be afraid if you feel like if you hear some bone break. You probably can break ribs. If you're doing it right, you will break ribs. We can give you some medicine for ribs, but we can't bring you back from the dead. Right. So I'd rather take that pain of that rib moving around, because we really can't fix a rib. It heals on its own, but we can give you some medicine for it. Right. So if you break a bone while you're doing CPR, that means you're doing it right. You want to do it and you hard and fast. That's what you want to do. And you want to keep your arm, because if you do it like this, you're gonna get tired. You're gonna be tired real fast. You keep it up like this, And that's why it's good for the person to either be on the ground because you can get that good standing over. And of course, this right here is not gonna feel like the real person. The real person is tougher. It's real, but you just want to make sure you find that point and you just push hard, push fast, as long as you can. You do get tired, but what they say is once you start, you really can't stop. But hopefully, there's another person around, which may not always be the case, that can switch out with you. You can switch out. Um, those are some of the basics of CPR. Normally, this class when I teach it is normally like 3 hours long. So I'm packing in 20 minutes. Just the basics of what I know in 20 minutes, but it's normally a 3 hour class. So that's the just the CPR. Place your heels, interlock your hands, and making sure that you go hard on a hard surface as fast as you can, 100 to 120 beats per minute. And if you want to look at the hand up a little, it said be the difference to someone you love, because it may be the person that you're trying to save, it may be your husband, your wife, your children. For babies, these are my babies here. For babies, CPR is different. You want to take your fingers and put them here, and they're gonna be on hard surface too. You would do it. This is how you would do a baby. Some of our men, they might be heavy handed. You can do it this way. You can use the heel of your hand. Or if it's a small baby, you can use fingers. So, but you just want to make sure it's the same thing. You want to make sure that you got them on a flat surface and you're doing it as hard and fast as you can. Um, like I said, if you ever take CPR class, then you learn all about the um, breathing and stuff, but they don't really recommend it for the community if you're not a healthcare worker because you got to go try to do the pulse and all that. And you're not familiar with all that. So they found out from research that as long we try to get that heartbeat, and as long as you get that deep heartbeat, then you have a good chance of saving your loved one, your child, your friend, or whoever it is that's next to them. What I will also show you with babies, because babies choke. If you have a baby that's choking, what you want to do with a baby that's choking is you want to do one, put them on your knee, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's how you got a baby and they got something in there. You never want if it's in there, do not stick your finger in there and try to put because you're gonna push it down back in there. If it comes to the tip and you can just flip it out like that, then you do that. But if not, you don't ever want to sweep. I don't know if anybody they used to tell you to do a clean sweep to go in the fountain. Right. We were pushing that thing way down that throat, and it was gonna never come out. So they don't teach that anymore. They teach you don't put your finger in there, don't do any of that stuff. You just want to see if it comes out or if it pops out while you're doing this, then that's fine. But don't ever stick your finger in this mouth or in a nose. Don't stick your finger in there and try to sweep anything out of there because we found out we were just pushing it right down. So that's how you would do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And normally it's on your knee. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You would do that until it either comes out or hopefully the baby don't go unconscious. If the baby goes unconscious, then you want to start CPR on the baby. So hopefully that doesn't. Hopefully whatever is in there will come out, and that's how you would do choking for a baby. If baby's choking, but that's baby, and this is an adult. This is the navel of an adult. You want to take your finger. They call this the hind. You want them to help yourself like this, and you push up, and you push up, and you push up to try to see if you can get it to come out. Hopefully it'll come out, and if they go unconscious, then you got to start CPR. Um, if you have somebody that's heavy set, you can still do it. You will just do it here versus at the navel. You still would. If you got a pregnant lady, you can still do it. You go on above up here with her, and you still gonna do it. So you can do it on a pregnant lady. You can do it somebody a larger size lady or a little larger size gentleman. You can still do the kind that you need for them. And that's my basis for my CPR. Well, thank you. So you if y'all I don't know if he got a question and answer period later. So, yeah. So But that's it for me for CPR. If y'all want to come up here later on when we're done, if you want to put your hands on it and play with it, I'm good. You come up here and I can let you do that. Play with it.
Can we give Miss Amy another round of applause? Thank you very, very, very much, Miss April. And so I do hope that we learned a little something or we were refreshed on some things because you never know. The life you save might be someone very near and dear to you. So thank you very, very much. Our next presenter is Cara's acquaintance. He is also my classmate. Very proud of that. And Cars has been in the industry of financial advisory and planning for 33 years. So he's truly an expert. And so this segment taps on financial literacy. So we all, no matter how little or how much money we have in the bank, we can certainly benefit from what Mr. Cars has to share. So without further ado, I'm going to invite him up and he will share probably a little bit more about what he does and then get into the meat of his presentation. So let's give Cars a round of applause.
So she didn't give us a lot of time. We need time on this, but we're going to try to stay within the guidelines. All right. I do have an exercise that I need every time to kind of participate. Mr. Dante Williams, every time he keeps up with my opinion. I might talk fast because he's giving us time. All right. So, real quick, and this is my wife. This is Andrea. Andrea, I had this tablecloth. I'd like to put on that table real quick. We'll take over real quick. Sherelle, these pads here, bring them down. My name's Cardis. I am the market director for Thriving Financial. My job is to recruit, train, develop, bring in new advisors into the company, and then place them in the communities for pillars as pillars in those organizations. Um, Many of you might agree that one of the challenges we've had as a community, this is just an overall community, is we don't save well, we don't protect our assets well. We have a lot of challenges that financially, if we knew better, we do better. That's why I try to protect the village. And so I'm going to let Dante introduce himself. Dante, would you talk about thriving, company, your why, and then we're going to get to this exercise. Okay.
All right. My name is Dante Williams. I'll give a little bit of a little bit about the background of me because I think that's important. The most thing is where I came from. But I grew up in Warner Robins. My dad was Air Force, been in the Air Force his whole life. He just retired Air Force and he kind of went back as contract for the Air Force. He's still working there right now. I decided to attempt to follow his path. Didn't work. I ended up going to Georgia Southern in Statesboro, Georgia. And then from there, I got into public safety. So I got into public safety about 15 years ago as a volunteer firefighter. I've been a volunteer firefighter for 15 years to this day. So I'm still doing that now. Still getting out in the community, still helping out in the community in the ways that I can. Well, what I found out while being a volunteer firefighter is I can't help as much as I wanted to. I really wanted to be out there, really wanted to get in the community, really wanted to sit down with the youth and really say, hey, here are the things that are important. So I decided about 5 years into volunteer firefighting that I wanted to join the Georgia State. So I joined the Georgia State Patrol. I worked my way up to assistant post commander in Rankin, that's down in the Savannah, Georgia area. And I was in charge of a lot of people doing a lot of fun things, but also going to churches, really just getting involved in the community and proving that we can bridge the gap between law enforcement, public safety, and everybody else. I mean, it's been we came a long way from where we were 10 years ago to where I left it. I left because I got hit by a drunk driver and hurt my back. Doctor told me I can't go back. Well, I still wanted to help the community. I still wanted to get out here. Still wanted to say, hey, what can I do that I'm good at? I've realized that I'm pretty good at finance. So I met with Cars. Cars got me on board with Thrivent. And that's how I kind of got started and kind of my background a little bit about it. And what Thrivent really does is Thrivent focuses on, like Cars was saying, financial planning. And what that means is that's pretty much every aspect of your finance. That's from what insurances do you have to make sure you're protecting the bill, make sure you're protecting your family. So do you have a will? Do you have a trust? What are you doing for your future generations and what are you doing for the past? We got a plan we're gonna do. Okay, something like that. All right. So how Thrivent really does financial planning. So we call it something called a financial house. So what the financial house is it's a framework to how we basically come up with a plan to get everybody on the financial plan, to get everybody able to retire, able to live comfortably, able to provide for their family, and not really worry about where am I going, what's going to happen.
Everybody has this in their folder. If you don't mind taking it out real quick, follow with it. Financial house.
And like building a house, the financial house is going to be a blueprint. So it's going to be customized to everybody. Everybody's going to have some of it. Some people may be at the beginning, some people may be at the end, but this financial house can help you. So where we start is the foundation. We all know if you don't have a foundation when you're building a house, if one thing happens, the house falls. So what we focus on is we focus on the first thing is building that emergency. Nobody wants a rainy day. Everybody knows it's coming. The only thing that really is when is it going to happen? And if you don't have money put aside for when something happens, then we have to start going to banks. Then we have to start taking out loans. Then that kind of puts you further and further in debt. And then it not only affects you, but it affects, like Carson was saying, the bill. So the next thing we do is we work on managing the debt that you do. I mean, there's such things called bad debt, there's such things called good debt. We like everybody to have as much good debt as possible and no bad debt. Next thing is building estate planning documents. That's what I was talking about when we were looking at the wills and we're looking at trusts. There will come a day where everybody's going to pass on. We all know this. And what a will and trust does is makes that process seamless for the family. I'm sure everybody in here has probably had somebody that's passed on, and then when they passed on, it became a big burden on the next person because nothing was in place. So then you have to go, you have probate takes it. When probate takes it, then you have to kind of get everybody together, figure out who's taking what, what's going where. Really having a will or trust in place really simplifies that process and really helps everybody know what's going on, including you. The next thing is confirming meaningful insurance. Insurance is something that a lot of people have, but a lot of people really don't know a lot about. What insurance really is for is to protect the family in case, or protect the village in case something were to happen. If something was to happen to you, and say your significant other isn't ready to take up that bill, that can be a huge expense on you or them, depending on what happens. And where insurance comes in is it kind of gives them time to build that gap, to build back that gap. All right, the next thing we do is confirm meaningful or designate beneficiaries. Beneficiaries is anybody that you think that needs to be on there, you need to let them know. The same thing was doing the will and trust. You need to let somebody know if something were to happen to you, that you want them to be in charge of your estate, your assets, and you want them to actually go and be in the process of it. Because nobody wants to find out that such and such passed on, and then you get a call that, hey, you need to come up here, you need to deal with all this. Especially if they're got a bunch going on in their life, they're going to be like, okay, I didn't know I was this person, I didn't know I was in charge. So if you do have beneficiaries, just make sure. All right, the next stage we usually focus on is basically this is going to be the growth stage. This is going to be where you're investing for retirement. This is going to be where you're saving for an education, saving for any large purchases. This is going to be when we have that foundation set. That's when we start building on it. That's the growth stage. Now, the next stage is going to be the spend stage. This is going to be the stage that a lot of people in this room are probably familiar with. Is getting close to retirement and retiring. Yeah, we all know that money in retirement doesn't go far. Inflation has hit like no other in history, especially in these past 5 years. I don't know if you haven't paid attention, but in the past 5 years, prices have went up. And I mean skyrocketed for basic things. This isn't even, hey, you're trying to buy something luxury. This is, you go to the grocery store, the milk, the eggs, it went up at least twice the prices they used to be 5 years ago. So that's really where the spend stage is really where we got to focus in on the plan to say, hey, this is how much I have. This is how much I'm bringing in. This is how I'm going to make it last the rest of my life. Also, what we do is refine tax efficiency. As you know, the government wants their money, and the government's going to get their money somehow. So what we do is we make sure that the government only gets what they need and no more. Because the government, one thing they're not going to tell you is how much you owe. What they're going to tell you is you owe. They're not going to tell you what you owe. So we basically come when we work with you and we make sure we know exactly how much you need to give to them. Because even if you overpay, they'll never give you back what you overpaid. That's right. The next stage is going to be the legacy stage. This is where we're really going to focus on making sure that trust, making sure that will, making sure all that stuff is in place, and making sure the people who need to know things need also know them and are able to do what you want to have. Also, we have look at a wealth transfer strategy, and we plan for any charitable giving. I know everybody in here probably part of the church. Charitable giving. I mean, y'all are already doing charitable giving right now. This is just trying to plan for it, just in case, just when something does happen to you, you may want to get back to the church to help the church out also. And this is going to be pretty much the financial house. I know I did it really quick. Like Carl said, we didn't have much time to really dive deep into the topic. But this is pretty much what financial planning is about. Is putting all this together to give you a financial plan for yourself for now and for the future, and also to set your family up for success. Because as we know, our community specifically hasn't had the best build up in the United States. So we know we need to set ourselves up for the future more than any other community to set themselves up.
Okay. Now, again, that 10 minutes, 5 minutes? 10 minutes? All right, real quick exercise. I know you guys thought you were going to be talking today. It ain't. Thanks. We're actually going to get you involved. I got 6 groups. Young adults. And as I call you, if you will move closer to each other, do a quick exercise. You'll enjoy it. Young adults, pre-retirees. Again, move to the pre-retirees. If you're working still, and you're thinking about retiring, move to that sector. That person. Let's raise your hand. Pre-retirees. Pre-retirees. Okay. Come together as quickly as you can. Okay. Retirees. Move quickly, please. And our seniors. Please consider our seniors. Business owners. Any business owners, move really quick. Move really quick. Well, what else do I ask you? So business owners, retirees, young adults, children. With the children, I want you to sit in I need to have someone be the adult to take on this time. We're got a quick quiz. A quick survey. Sure. Don't handle. There's only one. So you got good. So the retirees are over here. If you don't move, then it's okay. You don't have to move, but I'd like you to. The pre-retirees are over here. The adults are over here. Business owners can sit up here. And so they came back there. We need one representative. We need one representative for each group. One representative for each group. One representative will need to have a pen. One representative will need to have a pen. Where's the kid? Young adults. Go ahead and Oh, yes, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. We can talk about the water and everything on indoor.
I know.
We good? We good to go?
Yeah.
We good to go?
Yeah.
Business owner. Business owner, business owners, right? Over here. Business owner. Okay, I got my retiree.
Right.
I got my pre-retiree. I got my young adults. I got my business owners and no kids. Is that everybody, sir? Okay, and I need a representative. I need a representative for each. I need a representative for each group. One, who's my rep over here? Two, raise the hands at the same time. Five, and then what else you need? That was it, right? Does every group leader have a pen?
Yeah.
All right, so here's the deal. There's a prize in this envelope. It's not a card. Not a card either. There's a prize in this envelope. When I say go, right? The person, the group that gets me their responses back the quickest, and the reason I'm doing this is because he gives us a lot of time. But that gets us their responses, their responses the quickest is the one that wins this prize. Okay? It ain't gonna make it rich, but it might do something. Fair? The question is on the tablet for the leader. You see the question on the tablet? So what I need you to do is I need you to get the answers from your group. 6 of their concerns, and I need you to prioritize the top 3. You understand? Everybody understand how the game goes? Yes.
So I said, what are your financial part of your family?
No. People that ain't good.
What did you think?
I need the business on. Yeah, there's that's the business on. Oh, I had a married couple too. All right, I got the business owners, I got the children, we don't have children, and we didn't do a married couple. We're gonna keep this separate this way. We need a pre-retiree clipboard. What clipboard do you have? Pre-retiree? What did I say? That's pre-retiree. No, I got it right here. We'll do all the retirement, right? Retiree. This is the pre-retiree. Pre-retiree. What's that?
I'm down with my ex, but I'm pregnant.
Pre-retiree, retiree, business owner, young adults. Yes? All right. Question is, what are your financial concerns? List six. List 6 of your financial concerns from the table, from everybody that's there. You gotta have 6, and then I need you to prioritize the top 3. Simple enough. All right. Oh, everybody participate, please. It's important. It's important.
And the concern bill.
I can't go back to my word. There you go. Let's get this. 1 minute still. 1 minute still. I'll give you two more minutes because we are on a limited time, right? Right? We're on a limited time. Let's 2 more minutes. No more than that. And I want to close out, and then of course we're gonna have questions. Okay? Well, you didn't prioritize these. Oh, they're oh, they're priority. Okay.
Oh, we should win that place.
Maybe the next time you bring me back, I'll have.
That's not.
Hey, help me. Here's the way. Here's the way. Here's the way.
Let's see to go. Let's go.
The goal is to bless everybody. The goal is for us all to be blessed. Okay. Was that fun or what? Was that fun? All right. You know what that did for us? That made us prioritize what's important. Per, right? When Nikki asked me to come in and do the presentation, I said, well, okay, we can do it. But what are we going to talk about? And a lot of times you go to seminars, you talk to people, and you're just being talked to, right? Ideally, I would have done this prior to, but it's okay because now we know what we want to talk about in your question and answer session. That's the first thing. Secondly, I will tell you that an insurance agent is not a financial advisor. Right. Okay. 58% of our households have insurance. We believe in insurance. As African American folks, we believe in insurance. But a lot of us still feel that we don't have enough insurance. We're not properly insured. Okay. 30% of us have worked with an advisor. What's an advisor? Someone that has 7, 66, 65, 63, 6 at a minimum. I know that's our. But you imagine like degrees, right? So you go up the ladder in degrees, and so the advisor has the ability to talk to you about everything, which is what Dante mentioned about as far as financial house is concerned. The question is, what are your financial concerns? You listen to them here. We're going to discuss them. The question and answer session. Hopefully, you all will bring those questions up. But then, secondly, what are you doing about it? Right? You know someone that can help you do what you need to do to be successful financially. Why aren't you leveraging that? Right? We know how important it is. I give examples on it real quick. So my house, my family. And I thought is this family?
Family.
This is family. Okay, so for my family, we had inherited property. You've heard of air property? Yeah. So back when my mom had 8 brothers and sisters, and obviously they had children. And so my grandma's house, my grandfather had the street named after him in South Carolina, all this property, right, in place. Also, we got to a point where the families started being, having their own family, right? What do you think my grandfather's objective was when he had bought all this stuff, put all this straight? Stay in family, right? Well, we got to a point where we're selling this stuff off, right? Why? Because no one wants to move back to South Carolina. Why? Because no one wants to maintain the profit. You're serious. No, yeah. You don't want to move back to South Carolina. There's nothing to do in South Carolina, right? But we have 50, 60 acres that we just give away pennies on the dollar for the most part. My grandmother's house, all brick, 3-bedroom, 2-bath, so about $20,000. That's because we didn't want to deal with it. And it wasn't because we didn't have anybody that was in a position to actually kind of navigate that, because I've been in this for 30 some odd years, so it wasn't even brought to my attention. As a family, church family, blood family, what do you all want to happen? When I drove in here just now, Sherelle and I said, where's the church? Where's the church? But clearly, look at this. Do you want this to continue? Do you believe the principles here are principles that need to be learned and pursued for the future? Do you? What are we doing about it?
Yeah.
It will require money. It does require planning. Do we have a plan? And if we don't have a plan, do you know someone that can help you with a plan? Why not leverage them? Why not start now? Why not start now? My uncle, this scenario, my uncle was getting everybody together to sell off the property. Before he get it done, he passed away.
Yeah.
So now it's still back in this hiatus state. What do you want to do? Why not do it now? By the way, mistake that they made, they didn't talk to the young adults. The elder just talks. That's why y'all winning. That's why y'all winning. They didn't talk. Y'all didn't talk to the young adults. You see how y'all in the middle? You see how you're in the middle? And you know what? They make the decision based on what they know.
Yeah.
But guess what? They don't know what they know.
Yeah.
And a lot of times y'all ain't talking to them either. I was so excited to get away from them. Oh, sure. You see the problem. The problem. Why did Carr say, let's do a survey? Because I need to know what the elders want to have happen financially.
Yeah.
What's bothering you financially? And are you doing anything about it? And are you working with anyone? Are you doing anything about it? Are you working with anyone? And then I need to know these pre-retirees, so they think they're gonna retire one day. So, just like I know that retirement year, he's moving up, especially when you put on Social Security.
Yeah.
Right? We still are in 67. Don't worry about it. You all are 65. But these folks over here, they may be 70. They may have to be 73. All right, good. Okay, I got your attention. Okay. Another question of concern. Another question of concern. Again, this is not question and answer. We talking about. Sit down a second. Okay. Am I okay? Thank you. Oh, Nikki, don't tell you when she asked me to come and speak. I was like, oh man, thank you so much. I mean, really, because I feel passionately that we are at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we don't know. The CPR, we don't know.
No.
And it's not entertaining enough
Yeah.
for us until it happens. Yeah. Imagine someone gets sick right now and needed that. How many people really paid attention to the point where they feel very confident to come in and move up, or they would let her do it? Of course she would do it. But how many people, based on what they learned today, will feel confident enough to try to save a life? Or should be still staying around? She's talking about that stand around and look. The people that she's talking about that stand around and look. The people that she's talking about standing around and look. If it wasn't your family, if it wasn't your church family, would you do it? Yeah. I'm just asking. That's a question. And how many of you would really feel comfortable, especially in this litigation space that we're in? Everybody sues everybody. You broke my sermon. All right. I ain't touching them. No, I'll pray for you later. Am I right? Am I right? I'm right. Okay. What's this? You couldn't guess, I bet. You couldn't guess some of the responses that the retired family members had for you all. I'll give you all private. Yes. I got something else for you. Like, give me one thing that you feel like they said about you all, if they said anything at all, in their financial concern. About what? About you all. I knew y'all know. Y'all about to say something. Oh, say it. Just one thing. I gotta move. Huh? No. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Cheryl. They couldn't. We gotta go. We gotta move. No, the concern. One of the concerns with them was they don't want to be all dead.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
Right? They would like this generation here. Let me see the retirees, Cheryl. See what they can. They might be selfish. You laugh. I'm gonna see it, y'all. Huh? They selfish. So selfish. That's why grandma, and grandpa, they care about. Do that. Now, how do we do that? Because we know that grandma, grandpa, actually not just, they don't just take care of themselves. Typically, they're on a fixed income, right? And we just found out these guys are here. So they worry about themselves. So wait. We just found out. We know this. Logical. We know that this group right here helps us all. If they are on a fixed income, it's not. These are the people right here got the money. They ain't got nothing talking about y'all. Six, not one. Listen, let me say what they said. This is what helps. Hey, this is where you all come in their life, and this is real life. They need somebody to take care of them when they get old.
Amen.
Because they've been somewhat burdened to take care of them.
Yeah.
But how do we pay for it financially if we're just barely making it?
Yeah.
Financially, how do we look out for them if health insurance is a concern for you? Would it be a health concern for them? And for them. And Dante just said that health insurance goes up. It's going up. He didn't say health insurance. He said eggs and milk. But if eggs and milk are going up, I'm just trying to make this a real life scenario. And I know we don't have a lot of time. I just wish I could talk even more about why it's so important that you sit down. 30%, 58% have life insurance, but you feel like you're underinsured. 30%
Yeah.
has a relation with an advisor. That's someone that can actually talk to you about tax strategy. That's someone that can talk to you about assets under management, managing your portfolio, your 401k, and all that stuff. Talk about that. That's someone that can talk to you about taxes. That's someone that can talk to you about wealth transfer, making sure they don't have any debt.
Yeah.
Let's have a plan in place that provides that. Wealth transfer, generational transfer. They typically do a generation skip because they provide it for you all for your whole life. So now they want to make sure they're taken care of. Right? That makes sense. But what's the strategy if they didn't know about financial strategy that actually include trust, generational trust,
Yeah.
bypass trust, revocable, irrevocable trust, testamentary trust. If they didn't know, how would they transfer the assets? You know how to do it? Contractually through an insurance contract, insurance policy. So beneficiary list. But that's just those products and services that have contractual signage. How do they transfer the houses? How do they transfer the land? How do they do that? And then when is it a good time for us to start training them? When should we start training these people? Hey, since you all want these people to take care of it, it's not wrong. It's not wrong. It's the right thing to do. I mean, that should be the way to do it. But financially, you know it's going to cost money, right? gonna cost money, and it's gonna be real expensive. You know how much the average cost of long-term care is today per day? Does anybody know? Take a guess at
$1,600 a day.
it? $1,600 a day. Oh, that's a real nice. I normally take $400 a day, but still $400 a day times 50 times 365 is what? And that's just in 1 year. 465, $400 times 365, $400 times $365 per year. I said it right. $400 times 365 days. Yeah. The average stay in a nursing home is about 2.5 years. Right? So who wants to go to a nursing home? Nobody, right? Nobody. I mean, being honest. Being honest. So what's the plan not to go? Well, we want to stay home. Well, what's the plan to cover it? Well, I'm going to depend on my kids. Well, what's the plan to cover them? Because they don't have to have 2, 3 jobs. Because they got kids too. What's the plan? I know it was a question and answer for us, but there's no need for how many people ready to move and do something different today? I'm not trying to get you to do anything. But I'm just saying, like, information does not matter if you are not willing to proactively do something with it. We can come out with all these things. I can bring in I can bring in some more stuff, Nikki. Um, but what's the point of it if you're not willing to really do something? I'm telling you, when you think about this church, just this church here, when we drove up, we did not see the church. How long has the church been around?
1998.
98. Would you like to see it go to 2098? Do you think the principles are strong enough for that? Would you like to see the growth? What's the plan? Why can't we sit down and plan and then implement? What's the point of having the information if we're not going to do anything with it?
Yeah.
You know, most people I've helped are not my family. I just told you all that we got assets in South Carolina, and nobody's calling me. I'm the one. I'm the guy. It's me. If you don't, I've had banking experience. By the way, when you go to a bank, okay, go to a bank, any bank, pretty much the same scenario. It's just a different person in the team. It's the same services, right? Take a savings, sit down potentially and talk with someone. If you have enough assets, they'll trip you to an investment advisor. Talking about your money. They never pull together, typically, right? Right. All the banks you think of. And sometimes some of you got multiple banks. They got multiple banks. And they just said the statistics is 30% of us have a relationship with a financial advisor. Someone's actually sat down and did a plan from the beginning of the risk protection product, which is the insurance stuff, all the way to the top of the tax strategies and asset transfer. Who's doing that? See? Anybody else want to raise their hand? That's the less percent. That's only 1% out of 40 people. You see what I mean? And you got to get serious about it. Dude, it's as simple as setting up you don't have to get it complicated, but like, for example, you want to help the church. You could actually just change that beneficiary policy and say, I'm going to donate 10% of it. I'm going to change that. And when you pass away, 10% comes to church. Something simple. They never get complicated, but that's things that you need to know about. You decide whether or not you want to do it. You don't do it, you do it. You need to know. Okay. Let me move on. So Thrive, what's the difference? Thrivent is a fraternal organization. We're a 501c8, and I work with Fortune 50 companies in Jacksonville. I've been vice president for some of the banks in Jacksonville. I moved the ladder, and so now I'm here. I'm excited about Thrivent because Thrivent is a 501c8. What is that? You know, 501c3. You know, that's a not-for-profit organization.
Right.
Well, 501c3 is a nonprofit. It's a nonprofit. 501c8 is a not-for-profit, which means we make profits, but we give those profits back to our members. In order to become a member, Doc, you have to be a professed Christian. Okay. That's over there. Did everybody hear me? Private is a Fortune 500 company. Nikki, I did not know about this company. before joining. And I've been in the business how long? And I'm from Jacksonville. How long have I been in this business? 33 years. And that might be shy because maybe a couple more years. But 33 years, vice president, moved up the company, worked with these large Fortune 50 companies, big companies. Never heard of this company before. If you are a Christian, you get to participate in the benefits of this company. If you are not a Christian, you don't get to participate in the benefits. You can still do business with us. We still will do a financial plan for you, the assets under management, the rest of your trip, but you don't get the benefits. What are the benefits? One big benefit is what we call action teams. Now we actually pay our members every year
Yeah.
up to $500 to do something good in their community. Okay, all of our members. As simple as having a life insurance policy. You had a life insurance policy, right? You had it through this company. You know, honestly, the fiduciary, it makes no sense at all for Christians not to have an insurance policy in this country because we're giving you $500 back for the kids. We're giving $250 back every year. It's not the dividend. You get a dividend too. It's not the dividend. They get actually $250 go out. And what does that do? It teaches them that it's not just about us, right? It's about what we can do to make a difference. Generosity. Y'all follow me here? Follow me here? That makes sense? So imagine everybody here had a $500 life insurance policy with private. Round numbers, 30, 40 people, 40 times 500, Pastor. What could that do for you if that money came back to the church? Now, you're not slacking on opportunities in regards to advice, planning, any of that. We all have the seven at a minimum. 7, 66, 65, 63, 6, 215 at a minimum. I know that stuff doesn't sound, it's not your world, but it's a standard that's driving it. Okay? You're not lacking anywhere there. We have a bank, by the way. So you're not lacking there. Imagine that. Okay? Any questions on that? No thoughts? Any questions? All right. We had fun. And thank you, Nikki, for letting me take this time. I appreciate it very much. And I hope you'll invite me back, my team and I, Dante and his lovely wife, Andrea. This is my wife, Sherelle. Sherelle has this for me. Okay. Sherelle just handed these out. So I got this. Okay. I got a pen. You got a pen? Okay. All right. Look, we work as a team. Nikki asked me to come out. I said, let me call my team. Dante's a member of my team. He and his wife. Right? The benefit of that for you all is that we will have multiple eyes on this scenario, whatever the situation is, and we will be fiduciaries in that response. I asked you questions. Hopefully, you all have more questions now that we've kind of approached this way. If you have individual concerns, take a moment, complete this, and then if you want, if you have someone that you already work with, complete this and take it to him. He might not like a picture on or her, but do it, right? Do something. Do it different and better starting ASAP, like today if you could. And we just want to be a resource. Okay. So thank you so much. And at the end, if you don't mind, if you all think if whoever wants to fill us out, and again, we won't call you. Put on there, do not call. If you fill it out. If you fill it out. Don't fill it out if you don't want to move, right? But if you do want to have someone to call you, by the way, when we do call you, we're not going to call you and have it's not going to be sales. It's going to be consulting. We want to get to know you. We want you to get to know us because we really want to develop strong relationships with our clients and our members. We want to be different and better. If you feel like you want some help, please let us help. And let me see anything, Cheryl. Did I see anything? You got it. You got everything? All right. All right. Thank you.
Thank you, Drivens.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Lots of, oh, okay, yes. Lots of good information. Lots of good information. And he kept saying Nikki, but really y'all know what? Y'all know who it was. It's my dad, my brother Williams,
Okay.
our wonderful minister. With the time constraints.
Okay. I gotta talk to him next. I gotta get him back. Okay.
Do we want to shift into Q&A?
Yes, so Q&A real quickly. If you have any pressing questions, please ask, and then the appropriate presenter will answer the question for you. Then we have a few presentations, and then we'll be through.
Yes, I have a question for both CPR and with the CPR, you talk about choking in adults and how we do the Heimlich maneuver. But if you're by yourself and you're choking, is there a good way to go about helping yourself if you can? Yeah. If you have a chair, you can take a chair and you can bend over a chair and you thrust on your chair. Take a chair here. And usually I'm tall, so I probably wouldn't do nothing to me, but you can go across the chair. If you're choking, you can take the corner of a wall. I I've done that before. I've choking. Hit your back on the corner of a wall, and hopefully that'll help you in that manner. But this right here probably be the best option. Yeah, this is go across the chair. So just press yourself down. So keep hitting the chair just like you would. Just try to put pressure and try to push whatever it is up there. Okay. Where's the pressure? We want to go right here, the same place. You want to try to get that. Just try to get it up. Even if you do your chest, I mean, you just want to get it up. Excuse me. How many you show the chest? You the same size as the hair. You can go and just do it. Just keep brushing yourself, and hopefully it'll come up. Or you can go against the corner of a wall. You wouldn't be doing all that if you showed. The question for you is, sometimes we think that an amount is too small, but is there a minimum amount that you need to start with when you're talking about investing?
No. Look, you gotta start with commitment. You gotta be committed. Whatever you start with that. If it's a penny a day can get to $1 million if you're really serious about it, okay? But no, the short answer is no. Start somewhere and commit to it. The purpose of having a plan is to help you stay the course. Kind of like going to the gym. I want to do certain things, or I want my yard, or whatever. You got to have a plan. Otherwise, when you get off track, then all of a sudden you start spending money that you didn't plan on, and of course, that sets you back.
Okay. Thank you.
So don't go far. Okay. Any other questions? I do have one. So we hear invest. You should invest. How? Where? Where do I start? What does that even mean? Does that mean I don't know.
Yeah.
What do I do?
You want to try that one?
All right. So I'm about to say investing depends on what you're trying to invest in. Now, when we're talking about, usually when people say investing, they're talking about money, they're talking about investing in the stock market. Some people have CDs, which is certificate of deposits. Some people are like, what I want to know is, how do I make my money? I don't want to have a savings account that's going to get 0.00005%, and I'm just going to leave it there, and it's not going to grow with the market. And then suddenly I had $25,000 and inflation went up 20% in the past 2 years, and now that 25 pays for half of what it did. How does my money beat the stock market? That's basically what investing does. Is we want your money to beat inflation, but we also want your money to grow. Now, where you can start is talk to any financial advisor. There's actually a lot of companies also that do investing, but just like Carson was saying earlier, anything else. Just go in there and just start somewhere. Because I know it seems like a big thing if you've never done it before. You're like, who do I talk to? Who can I trust? How do I know my money's gonna grow? How do I know the prices or percentages that the person's gonna charge to do it? Just start with something, even if it's just, hey, I got $50, I'm gonna put it in some investment or some stock market or Tesla or something, and just watch how it goes. And as long as you're, like Carl said, is committed to it, just try to put something in every month. Just try to make it a habit. And then if you make it a habit, then eventually you'll see some good.
Oh, wait. I want that to that. Okay, so you go to my point, right? How, what? How do I invest? Where do I invest? Right? Where do I start? That's the question, right? That's why the advisor show for. Because the advisor is actually going to sit. You know, great. Everyone give one. Oh, I have a hand, Jim. That'll work. Yeah. But that's where the advisor comes in, right? That's where the advisor comes in because they're going to sit down and they're going to say, "Tell me more about what's your objective? Tell me about your timeline. Like what is the purpose of this particular money? Tell me about your risk tolerance. Tell me, how do you need access to this money tomorrow, next week, next year? What do you want this money? How much risk do you want to take with it? And then you get to answer those questions. It's a two-part sport. You can tell me, Carl, say, let's I'll tell you, look, here's I got $1 million here. Can you do it? No, that's not what we want to do. We could, but we need you to be involved. Why? Because we want to start generationally transferring the understanding of how to manage and develop and create and transfer wealth. They're going to ultimately move to this side and so forth, right? But they got the right habits. You got to remember what some of you, it's not because they didn't want to, it's because they didn't know. If we start process, include the people in the process, and now the people that are in the process can teach the people, can teach the people. So we want to get you in the process. When a lot of questions, when I say consultative, we ask a lot of questions before we start throwing solutions out, because we need to make sure that it's what fits you best. If it's $50, if it's $10, if it's a CD, if it's an annuity, if it's mutual funds, if ETFs, if it's stocks, if it's bonds, if it's whatever it is, do it. Whatever it is, business owner set plans, IRAs, whatever it is, we want to make sure that you are getting what you need, not what cars need, not what I'm sorry, April, not what April needs, what you need specifically, and then you build on that. So there's no necessarily the right answer is the one that fits your objectives, and we have all the financial tools to fit that objective.
Any other questions?
Got one for April. We have professionals that need CPR card. Is that something you can provide?
Yeah. I'm certified CPR, American Heart Association instructor.
That would be accepted through the.
Oh, question?
That was one of the travel. I got a trip in Ocala. I want to say I'm grateful to Brother William for inviting me. Fresh of mind on CPR. Now it's locked on me, and also hearing what this gentleman here said. Want to bring that to Ocala as well.
Well, we pretty much have expensed all our time. So if you have any more questions, please ask after we yes, thank you so much, Mr. April. And I'm not gonna get your name right, so I know I'll get it wrong.
Artists.
Forrest. Thank you so much. That told me one thing. When we first started out, we were doing summits with 3 presenters. And then we found out that each presenter had so much. And we didn't have the time, or we wasn't allotted the time. Now we went down to 2. And I'm sitting over there thinking we can't even go 2 anymore. Because each presenter has so much. So we're gonna just start doing it Lord's willing, just do it 1%, and then give that particular person ample enough time to do what he or she has to do. But thank you again. Would you please come? Bring your wife. 1 minute. Yeah, come.
I just want to say one thing, one quick thing to all of us. We don't know what we don't know. That's right. So if you are honest with yourself and you know that you don't know, or you're not as financial literate as you really need to be, or you feel like you should be, fill that form out and just have a conversation. And if it's not for you, it's not for you. But we don't know what we don't know. So let's empower ourselves. Let's get this knowledge that's available to us and take advantage of what we have here. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, brother uh, Larry Tucson, and his wife. Uh, this is token of our appreciation for you coming and assisting us and doing a magnificent job. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. Thank you so much. Oh, they're gonna take some pictures, but let's give his wife flowers also. Yeah. So we're going to take pictures of these two beautiful people. 38 years, is that right? Amen. Four girls, 15, 16, 18 grand. Amen. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much. And then some birthdays. Y'all have that ready? Yes. Birthdays. I got the birthday. Brother General come this way first, and then we have appreciation for Brother Carl. We're gonna have to eat it up just a little bit now. Let's get it done. Brother General, we want to just say you thank you. You know, that's all trades here. And we thank you for everything that you've done for all of us. Stuff and sounds that we look. Okay. Stop it. Oh, we both agree. I want to thank you so much. All that you do for trying everything. That's it. And to myself, it was my birthday. And a lot Demetria. Okay. You know, come on, go to enjoy her birthday. Yeah. Her birthday. No, my dad. Okay, we're almost through. Almost through. That's it. Okay, now again, I thank each and every one of you for coming. All of our visitors, thank you so much for coming. All of the members of this congregation that worked so diligently in preparing the food and helping with the program and everything that you did, the decoration, everything. We certainly appreciate it. We could not have did what has been done without your assistance and for your love working with us. Also, as Brother General, does he have what he needs to have? Brother, if you turn around and look through that door and ask Brother General is he ready? 1 minute? Okay. Brother Pierce, thank you so much. Always come. Always help me. Amen. Beautiful family right here. Names? Oh, the Gustav family. Who? The Gustav family. Gustav family. Gustav family. Thank you so much for coming, being with us. Also, what's your name? B. B. Thank you so much for coming. The young lady sitting right behind you. What's your name? Yeah, you. Sister Brackett. Thank you so much for coming. And then the Blanding family. Thank you so much for coming and being with us. He's not ready yet? Okay, okay, okay. Okay, there we go. Sister April, come on, please. We were delaying and delaying because we had to pay us out some money. Sister April, thank you so much. You did such a great job. These people love to take pictures of that. Thank you so much. Brother, I told you I'm gonna miss the name. Acquaintance. 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 Okay, y'all just come on out. Bring your wife, bring the whole clan. Sir, you did a magnificent job. Thank you so much. And listen, they had their whole clan was with them. And listen, give his wife a hand. She is listening to his presentation, and she knows the next step. And she's doing it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Now, if I knew four of y'all were coming, I probably would. You gotta, y'all come on together. We can try this. Come on, come on. Don't even say fast. On the side. That's right. All right. That better? All right. Don't miss me now. All three. One, two, three. One, four. Thank you. All right. Leave me. I'm gonna call this gentleman back because what Sister Jessica asked. I have been talking about finance. I've been talking about investing. And so we need to know about investing. We need to know about handling your money. Warren Buffett says that anyone can be rich if they're willing to change their habits. We need to start changing our habits. Right. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Amen. No. It's a little bit more. Well, I'm I'm already going out there. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Amen. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Me too. All righty. Let us all pray. Let us pray. Let us please bow as I pray. Please say your individual prayer. My prayer is going to be 3 words long. Your prayer is going to be however long you get it. Is that all right? Give my signal to start. 1, 2, 3. In Jesus' name. Jesus. Amen. Thank you all so much. Nice to meet you. Amen. What's your name? So much. I'm working. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Last